have it happen? That was, I think that was big for his confidence. You've just seen him kind of each week play a little bit better and a little bit better, and that's the guy that we've wanted to be out there, and he's starting to prove it. He's starting to show it, and hey, sometimes it takes a little bit longer, a little bit different timelines, but been really happy with his energy, his level of focus, concentration throughout the practices, the walkthroughs, and you can see that there's always been a natural connection between those two, and hopefully we can continue to evolve that deal.
I mean, we've had 150 yards rush in the last 3 games. We're one of the top teams in the league doing it. That was the big emphasis, obviously, when you came in. I know there's a lot of components to it, but what do you see, especially of late? Not just the backs, but everybody.
Probably just the mentality, the energy around running the football, just like when we talk about the run game and the guys up front and just the cohesiveness. Like something that Todd mentioned that I do think goes unnoticed is the tight ends, the receivers, some of those things that do go into it. But I will say from a mentality standpoint up front, those guys and their coaches, I think it's been really cool to watch that transformation in terms of seeing guys really bought into what we're trying to get done. The coaches are doing a fantastic job of getting these things detailed. There's a lot of detail that goes into running the football, and then there's ultimately times when you don't block a safety that's in the box and your back makes a miss and things are good for you. So we have those type of players, and they're doing it at a high level right now.
The run scheme here, the last few years has evolved quite a bit. It seems like they're having their most success gap. What has allowed this team to do so well? I want to say the last time I checked, it was like 6.2 yards a pop, like the best in the league the last few weeks with gap.
Sometimes some backs are maybe better at like when you define the hole a little bit and then let their skill set take over. Sometimes when you're getting movement up front, the gap schemes can ultimately help you stay on tracks, and whereas some of the zone schemes versus movement fronts and penetrating fronts can create some natural penetration early in the line of scrimmage. So I just think that getting the line of scrimmage moving that way, the biggest thing that we talk about is playing the game, on their side of the ball. Like we do not want to play the game on our side of the football. That's not how we're going to win any games. So creating movement, how do we do that? Well, giving these guys different ways of hitting blocks, whether it's a beat combination on an outside zone away. How does that make it feel like to a deuce combination on the front side of a gap scheme? So trying to let the defense feel multiple different ways of getting hit while also creating an edge for us and trying to change the math in our favor.
And to that effect, it seems like Rashad White has evolved as well. It seems like he is a little more decisive, and there's not a hesitation for him. I mean, I know naturally you're a taller, longer guy. It's hard to go from 0 to 60 like that.
True.
But it seems like he's been more decisive and able to kind of explode a little bit.
Yeah, that was been an emphasis since we got here. A lot of meetings and conversations and film sessions with Rashad and showing him where we think he could take the next step, and he's been bought into that. He's understood that could help him in his game, and as well as in the same term help us run the football more effectively. And sometimes the gap just allows that to occur just a little bit more naturally than some of the zone schemes where you're truly pressing it one gap at a time, and it could hit in the D gap, C gap, B gap, front side A or back side A, whereas that's kind of how zone is. So I think just defining some of those things are a little bit more beneficial for us at times.
The Buccaneers have the number 4 red zone offense in the league for touchdown percentage, and the Chargers are number 1 in preventing that in the red zone. What makes them such a staunch red zone opponent, and what's it going to take to get in the end zone against teams like that?
They're a salty crew for sure. They're very well coached. They play the game the right way. They're fantastic against the run in terms of like how they squeeze blocks. They understand scheme. Got a lot of respect for what they're doing over there. And in the red area, not a lot of people have scored a ton of touchdowns. I think they have like 13 touchdowns on the season being allowed in the red zone. So that tells you not a lot of people are getting down there, and you're not scoring a lot of touchdowns. So they play with a little bit of shell safeties and try to make you run it, try to make you earn it. They're not going to let you just go throw it in there too easily. So we've got to be patient. We've got to understand that we're in field goal range and take points when we have it, while also being aggressive to try to get the ball in the end zone to score some touchdowns.
Liam, in terms of getting first downs on first down, it's an area where you guys have taken a huge step forward. I think last in the NFL last year and number 2 now this year. There's probably a lot of things that go into that, but what would you point to for why that's improved so much?
I think we emphasize that a lot here. Both sides of the football is winning first down. Winning first down. When we get one, how can we win that one again? And that's been an emphasis of Coach Bowles really since we got here. Was talking about that early down success and emphasizing it and putting it in situations in practice so that you're not just aimlessly running plays. Like you get a first down, well now it's not time to like breathe, phew. Oh man, we got a first down. Well, let's try to go get another one. Let's the mentality and the standard to try to go press the envelope. So I think, and then balance I think sometimes helps with that, right? When you can create balance. And keep the defense off their toes in a way and try to be one step ahead, that can help as well.
When you look at your offense, you're averaging 28 points per game, but it's not like 14 points one week, 42 the next. You've only had one game where you've scored less than 20 points. How much of it is a source of pride in you, the coaches, the players, for being able to just consistently put up that on a week?
Well, I think that's a result that is probably there. I think if you were to talk to our players and our staff about what occurred Sunday, I don't think we'd all be sitting here jumping for joy. I do believe there was a lot of good things that did occur, but we can't do the things that we did to our team and expect to go continue to do what we're asked to do and go score points. But to ultimately continue to score when you need it, and I think, Todd said this week, like, it doesn't really matter how we win, but yeah, we care about how we play. We do care about the process. We care about how we execute in games, specifically in crunch time. So I was proud of the way that we were able to do that, especially after some frustrating quarters.
To that end, Baker with 3 more turnovers, a couple interceptions, a lost fumble. Felt like he held the ball a little bit at times. What is it going to take? He does come out of it, obviously, at the end of the game, which is a good thing.
I think just trying to, we were probably waiting for some stuff to occur in that Raiders game that sometimes wasn't happening, and then when it did happen, it caught us a few times. We were really waiting for 0 to happen, and they weren't doing it, and I think we started seeing it a little bit when we weren't, and that's preparation too. Like that's on us as coaches to help put him in the best possible position to be successful, while also him understanding that he can do a better job of being on time and in rhythm with some of his decisions, and just just get the thing out. Hey, we've got good athletes. There's checkdowns available. Like Coach Moore always says, there's a completion out there. It's his job to find it, but that's not just on him. That's on us as well as coaches to make sure that he's truly in the best possible position to be successful.
When you mentioned the things that you're doing to yourselves on offense, we heard from multiple people yesterday say that the Chargers don't beat themselves very often. And they're one of the best penalty teams in the NFL.
That's right.
Obviously, you want to always, execute and P's and Q's, but is there an added pressure kind of this week knowing that there's so little margin for error against this Chargers team?
I think it's a sense of urgency for sure. I don't think I don't know if anybody's walking around here, worried, but you do have to have an understanding of what's the style of game that we're going to go play. This is going to be a physical football game that both teams are going to want to run the football, and whoever takes care of the football and wins situational football is probably going to win this game. And they've done a phenomenal job of not turning the ball over and playing their brand and style of football that's been successful for them so far this season.
You've done a great job of running the ball in for touchdowns, but like in the red zone they're really stingy too. I don't even think they're allowing, I think it's like 1.7 yards per carry in red zones. What makes them such a difficult run defense in the red zone?
Their personnel helps. I mean, they've definitely got some football players in there in that box, especially when you put Derwin down in there, that can be disruptive and that can be stingy against the run. Their 2 linebackers are fast-flowing, hard-hitting guys, and have a ton of respect for their front as well. I've coached against them. I coached with Morgan Fox in LA. Have a ton of respect for him. They've just been disruptive. They're, like I said before, they're very well coached down there. They have a sense of urgency to not let touchdowns in there, and that's where we're going to have to be on point there.
You've talked about assistant coaches, and one of the guys that you brought on was Brian McClendon. Was their receivers coach. At Georgia, you run the ball a lot. And how key is,
Huge.
was that
Huge.
to get your receivers to block and
Huge.
bring in that guy in the building?
That's a very good point, because that was what we were looking for in terms of understanding what this offense and system does ask of our skill players. And it does take somebody special that can get that out of everybody. I mean, I've heard some wideouts say, man, I don't get paid to block. And there's an argument to be had, but if we want to stink in the run game, it's not going to, then go ahead. And his mentality, the way he operates every day, his demands and standards in that room has elevated things to have a mentality like the rest of the group, and sometimes, really mix it up in there.
Liam, I feel like you have a unique perspective as somebody that's gone back and forth to college football, to the NFL twice, and somebody who was in New England for the entire Patriots run.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you what you thought about the Belichick news.
Man, I think it could be great for this game, honestly. I mean, if he can find a way to make college football more like this in terms of what is being asked of the coaches, the recruiting staff, the personnel, the NIL, all those different things, if he can make it a little bit less demanding on some of the coaches and create a great atmosphere and have success, I think it's great for our game. It's pretty cool to see, actually.
What about just understanding kind of the mental state and being able to relate to, grown men, and then having to go to college where, you're dealing with really, really, really young people?
For sure. That's definitely a cultural change. It's a change. I mean, you wake up for a game Saturday morning and there's just a difference. There's 18 to 22-year-old guys that are being counted on to go do the right thing that your livelihood's dependent on, versus just, men in a business that truly, take care of it in a lot of ways. So it's just a different deal, whether you want to go impact people, and that's what it sounds like he's trying to do, is go impact this game in a positive way, and I think he has the opportunity to do that.
Liam, it seems like every week there are more layers and creativity added into your pony package. Last week, looked like you even included a triple option RPO where Baker Mayfield got to call his own number after the Raiders kind of covered up the escort motion.
Yeah.
Can you speak to how much versatility that package offers?
Yeah.
And just how excited Baker was to call his own number in that?
Yeah, I think that it does offer a little bit of creativity for us. Like, those three can do a lot of different things, and you see when Bucky's down a little, now Sean's in, and man, thank God we have three. So those guys give us the ability to do that because they're smart football players. Like, all three of them understand the game. They're good football players. They're talented, and they help us operate, right? I mean, you're trying to supplement personnel, and hey, 11, 12, 21, whatever it is, we can't live in the same personnel all game. So just being able to move around those chess pieces has obviously been a little bit more successful for us.
Are you surprised on what it has allowed you to get to?
Probably a little. I did a good amount of it actually in Kentucky in 21, my first time there, and you can kind of see where it can evolve a little bit too. But yeah, I'm probably a little bit more surprised that how much we've been able to use it and been in it this season so far. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Thanks, Coen.